Hey, how's it going, everyone? Yeah, I'm back on Diablo 4. This time it's Season 2. There was quite a bit of a delay there at the start, but fortunately, there is some good news. It's back up. What we need to do is travel over here towards the top right portion of the map. It's north of Kiovashad. Once you're at this waypoint, locate the top left dungeon here, and it's going to be Damahine, if I am saying that right. Damahine Tunnels. We're going to then travel towards the right side, go all the way towards the left here, and you should be able to locate the dungeon right away. Now, what's interesting is that in the recent patch, they've made the XP multiplicative. This means that we're able to earn more XP, which before I do not believe it was like that, so there's a lot of things to look forward in this latest patch. I mean, 5 in-game bosses, a bunch of things to do. I'm pretty excited. I'm sure most of you are as well because we finally get at least a good portion of that meaty content that we've all been looking for. Of course, it did not arrive on Season 1 or even before then, but now it's here, so it's better late than never. Anyways, once you're at this tunnel, you can then travel towards the right or up, whichever one. Make sure that you do take the chance there and talk to the downed NPCs. Because what this can do is activate an event like this. What you see right here is at the start of the dungeon. And there's going to be an endless amount of wave here, at least until the timer's down, or at least until, I'm done completing this. But pretty much you just go through this, and what's going to happen here is all the XP is obviously going to stack because of multiplicative. So if you have any sort of potions or anything else that you might want to add to this to acquire more XP, definitely do so. And what you can see right here is that if I travel more towards the top right of this tunnel or dungeon, there's going to be more enemies, of course, but this one is really compacted and is probably one of the best dungeons that you could possibly farm at the beginning of the game. Well, how is it when it comes down to the boss? It's not that bad either, and what I would recommend is that you do not even bother fighting the boss. Now, I know that, some of you be like, well, why would you do that? You can grab loot and a bunch of other things. If you're looking for, in my opinion, if you're looking for something that's going to give you more XP per an hour, then I would just skip the boss and go straight to resetting the dungeon. This is probably going to be your best bet. But regardless, I did take on the dungeon boss and just completed it anyways. Let's head back towards the waypoint that we were just at. We're going to then travel towards the bottom right here. This is one of the best dungeons as well, but this one is probably the best when it comes down to nightmare dungeons. This thing is compacted like a party. I'm not kidding, guys. When it comes down to this dungeon, specifically nightmare-wise, it's probably one of the best ones to farm. This is probably going to be what you would want to do about late game-ish, but you can still try it out, right? What I'm saying here is that basically I would just stick with the Damahine tunnels. I'm probably butchering that. I most likely am. But anyways, when you do arrive at that tunnel, I would just farm that up until you're at least level 50, or as soon as you can get those world tiers, right? As long as you get your world tier 3 in and you're able to unlock some nightmare dungeons, you're going to have a lot better chances at acquiring those legendaries, grabbing more XP, and of course, nightmare dungeons it's just going to be a lot better when it comes down to this one right here, which is Surat's Lair. Again, this is probably one of the best ones that you could do late game, and the first one that I just showed you at the start of this video is probably the best early game or beginning of the game, is what I would personally use if you're trying to level up fast. So with that one out of the way, is there anything else that we could talk about while I'm at it? Yes, there absolutely is. There's various dungeons here. Okay, there's a lot to go over if you're looking for late game farming. But Surat's Lair is a great one. There's such as Malwood, Alderwood's another great one. There's various ones, but the one that we're traveling to is Champion's Demise, which is not bad either. This one is probably going to be one that you could possibly use early game, but I do not suggest it because there's better ones like the one that we were just talking about. So really, Champion's Demise is not the worst. It's definitely not the best, but there's other options out there for sure. Now, let's say that you're doing this in a fast-paced manner. What classes would I recommend? Mostly, I would say Barbarian is probably the best because of that whirlwind skill. Continuously spinning around in circles and slashing away a bunch of enemies makes things way easier, and you're definitely able to, regenerate fury. My second favorite class is going to be Necromancers, because who does not like an army of the dead? Not to mention, there's also the skill where if your corpse is on the ground, you can explode it nearby, which is definitely a must when you're trying to explode a good group of enemies, or a good portion of these enemies that can't surround you. And what else? Well, there's Druid. Druid's another huge favorite of mine, which probably is either second to third if you really want to go for just a huge DPS, as well as, just annihilating a bunch of enemies fast. Druid's definitely one of those. Now, Rogue's also a good one, but let's just talk about Sorcerer already. Is it one of those classes that you should pick up again? I don't know. It's still iffy in my opinion, because I've looked at some of the changes and I just do not feel the need to go back. Now, have they made some improvements? Absolutely. They've made so many improvements towards that specific class and changing the Paragon nodes. And not to mention, they've updated a lot of things when it comes down to basic skills and all the other things with Sorcerer. Overall, for me, Sorcerer seems like a bad penny. It seems like one of those things that I've had a terrible experience with from the beginning, and just looking at it again just feels more unappealing. I've actually went on this class recently, or went on Sorcerer specifically, and tried out a few of the changes that, Blizzard has made. It seems effective, but at the same time, again, I just don't feel like it's probably the best class that you should start off with. It's not the worst. It's a fun class, to be honest, a really fun class. But when it comes down to just DPS, in my opinion, it's not the best. There's other classes out there that have a lot more DPS to it and a lot more things that you can mess with. Rogue being one of them is great because you have that way of spinning those blades around as you're running through enemies and also attacking, which is pretty cool, by the way. There's a lot of things that you can really do with Sorcerer, but it's just, again, not my favorite class to start off with. Terrible experience, but there you go. That's pretty much what I would recommend when it comes down to the classes. I would rock either Druid, Necromancer, or Barbarian, and heck, you can even throw in Rogue, because Rogue you can't go wrong with Rogue either. So there you go, guys. I hope that this video has been helpful. These are my favorite ones to run, but again, there's so many dungeons on the map. But in my opinion, if you want to level up the fastest, then I would suggest going to Damahine tunnels and then heading on over towards Sorat's lair. Again, I'm definitely butchering the Damahine tunnels. I believe that's just how you pronounce it. I could be wrong. But other than that, thank you guys so much for the support, and I appreciate all the love that you guys do give every time you come through. Notification gang, squad, whatever you want to call, call it. I appreciate you guys so much, man. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all on the next video.